Hey everybody. I'm Brentley. Normally I have these videos where I you go down the rabbit hole of fundamentalism, Christian fundamentalism in the YouTube algorithm, right, and see where it leads me. And we all kind of experience the videos of the stuff that fundamentalists watch on YouTube and the type of stuff that's being given to them by the algorithm, and it's a lot of fun. But I wanted to talk to you today about sobriety, right? I support secular sobriety. I am myself, a secular person. I actually think that theism and beliefs in God, and even AA and other 12-step programs are not helpful. In fact, they're more harmful than I think they are helpful. First of all, to start with, they kind of base everything off of a fallacy. It's they say that alcoholism or addiction of whatever it is, substance use, we are calling them now. We call it an AUD or an SUD, or a substance use disorder, or an alcohol use disorder. And they actually will say that it's an incurable disease. The alcoholism is an incurable disease, you know, and and the only person, though, that can tell you who whether or not you have this incurable disease is you. Hmm. Isn't that isn't that something? So you wonder why people tend to get so combative at the title or the category of alcoholic. People call you that, right? I guess it's not a title or a category; it's a label. I'm sorry, but when people label you alcoholic, you get kind of upset, and for good reason. It makes sense. It's kind of a pejorative, right? Like it has a negative connotation to it, right? And so, yeah, a lot of people will just say, well, then I'm not an alcoholic. I'll just believe that I'm not an alcoholic, right? And people will rationalize this till the end, and that actually becomes a major problem with trying to address the problem, because they refuse to acknowledge it because of the nature of the word alcoholic. But if we use the word AUD, an alcohol use disorder, it's curable, totally curable, and it's common. It happens all the time. People get them, people just, it's an addictive substance. Of course, people get addicted to an addictive substance. That's how that's the nature of the word addiction. That's how that whole concept functions. And so I do have some advice that I want to give. First of all, I want to say three things that three ways to help you stay sober and secular. Right. First is avoid meetings. Don't. I don't really think that they help at all. If you feel like you need to be around other people and everything, like you need like some kind of support system, I recommend going online. Smart Recovery is really good for creating a community and or being part of a community online. I would go that route. I just think it works better. Although I'm not an advocate necessarily of Smart Recovery, I'd have to look more into it. So far, it seems pretty good from what I've heard, but it's still another step program. So my whole thing is that our brains are wired in such a way that we start to rationalize everything, right? And our rationalization, we start lying to ourselves, right? We start saying that, oh, I actually, with alcohol, I actually like the taste. It releases stress. It does this and that, and that. Because the thing is, you have to unravel the reasons that you actually drink. Like most people will come up and say, hey, but it's so bad for you. You shouldn't do that because it's bad for you. Like as if people who drink alcohol don't know that it's bad for you. We don't drink because it's bad for us, right? We drink for the reasons that we drink. So you should focus on those reasons, right? If you can unravel the reasons that you drink, or that you believe that you want to drink, if you can unravel those beliefs, then you can actually get somewhere as far as sobriety. Main thing, do not do it. Second thing, don't try to stop. Don't just stop, right? And then wait for your brain to catch up and feel normal again, right? Don't do that. It will take forever. There are people that are calling themselves alcoholics that haven't had a drink in 20 years, but are still like, I really want one, but I can't have it. I really want one, but I can't. And they're still doing that 20 years later. Don't just stop and wait for your brain to catch up, right? That is, you got to do it the opposite way. You got to get it in your head that you don't want to drink first, then stop, right? And then it's like, oh, this is super easy, right? So I'm going to recommend 2 books, and I have a method for how I want you to do them. I don't want you to read them because a lot of people that have AUDs also have ADHD. Imagine that, because of impulse control. A lot of us don't have impulse control. So what I want you to do is download Audible. It's a app that you can just download on your phone, and then you can listen to books, and get a set of headphones if you don't have them. Uh, and the thing is, you have to, you want to keep drinking while, like, whatever your habit is right now, you want to just keep doing it as you would normally do it, and start listening to the book. The thing is that you can't listen to it while you're drunk, though, right? So make sure you listen to it during the day when you're sober, but you can keep on drinking that night, right? Like, you can just keep on your normal, whatever your pattern is for how you drink. The book is called uh, the How to Control Alcohol the Easy Way by Alan Carr, and that's the first one, right? And listen to it for, like I said, like maybe like 1 to 2 hours per day, maybe like 1 hour a day, because like spacing it out is very helpful for unraveling all that brainwashing and stuff that makes you believe that you want a thing that is actually hurting you. The other book is The Fastest Way to Control Alcohol, Guaranteed, by Craig Beck. It's the exact same method, but because it's worded differently and he addresses like some other things, plus he adds in some supplements and things like that are really helpful as well. All of this is backed by science. All of this is backed by psychology, and it is very helpful. I drank for years, every day. I had to drink, and I would drink like a lot of vodka. I would drink like 6 shots of vodka, and then also drink beer on top of it. Many times, like hiding the vodka use and stuff. Yeah, it gets to be really problematic, right? But I started listening to these books, and I listen to about an hour per day, right? And then you just, as you go through it, they explain to you exactly like why you're drinking, how addiction works inside your mind, how your brain affects it. It's kind of like cognitive behavioral therapy. It's like you're understanding why you do what you do, right? And then they just sort of unravel it and make say like, see, you don't actually want to do this. You think that you do, but that's because of the alcohol making you believe things that are not true. And so both those books kind of unravel all of those false beliefs. And then once you get past the false beliefs, the actual physical part of the withdrawal is so slight. It's unbelievable. What makes it seem like it is worse is our reaction to that very slight insecure feeling that is the physical addiction, right? Um, and then our reaction to it is, I want a thing. I know how to fix this little insecure feeling. I want a thing. I know I can fix this thing. And then you just kind of work yourself up into a frenzy. And so it seems like the withdrawals are horrendous. But when I did this, and I had like crazy withdrawals, like when I tried to do it the opposite way, when I tried to just stop and then wait for my head to catch up, I felt like shaky. I felt crazy. I felt like I was just super short tempered with everybody and all the time. Like, it was just terrible, right? But when I did it this way, I stopped with no, I mean, maybe like a couple days, I felt that very mild and secure feeling in kind of like the middle of your chest. Very, very mild. You barely notice it. And then after a couple days, that goes away, and you're on to have a happy, productive, successful life, and you feel amazing. You have so much more energy than you ever thought you'd be able to have. You're not feeling dehydrated every day. You don't have a headache. Like, you just feel amazing. It's like you don't even know how bad you feel when you're inside that cycle until you get out of it for like a week. Once you're like 7 days, you're like, holy shit, this is amazing. I feel awesome. So if you read those 2 books back to back, right, and then stop when Craig Beck, I recommend doing the Alan Carr book first, How to Control Alcohol the Easy Way by Alan Carr. Do that one first. Then after that, do Craig Beck's The Fastest Way to Control Alcohol Guaranteed. And then when he tells you, okay, go ahead and stop right now, it's not to the very end of the book, or most of the way through the book, right? Um, he'll say, go ahead and stop right now. You're done. You're not a drinker anymore. And if you feel like you haven't like really gotten it yet, and you're like, I don't think I can do that, I'm too scared, like you're still having all those kind of fears and doubts and things like that, it's okay. That's normal. I had the same thing happen. Start over. Just start the thing, because repetition does help get it into your head, right? You gotta that's how we learn. We learn through repetition. So listening to these books, they help program your subconscious. Your subconscious is what actually controls all of your habits, right? So like your habits during the day, you can try to like go against your subconscious, but it tends to never really work out very well. So if you can program that subconscious, then it's a sort of automatic. Like you don't even have to think about it. And it just sort of happens. You just sort of stop doing it, stop thinking about it, stop worrying about it. And then you just get to live life and you're happier than ever and you feel better than ever. Nothing's boring, contrary to what the alcohol would like you to believe in your head. Everything's super fun. A lot more fun, in fact, because then you don't have to worry about about needing a thing and being like, oh man, it might not be fun, because if I won't have access to alcohol for this particular outing or whatever. No, you got none of that because you don't need alcohol and you have even more fun without it. So I highly recommend this method. And I'm going to keep coming back every so often on these. I'm going to make a little playlist for secular sobriety where I just bring out some tips and just, what I'm going through. And I just want to make sure that like, kind of like a little diary thing, but mostly for tips to help. And maybe we can create somewhat of a little community around secular sobriety so that we can all help encourage each other. Because those of us that don't believe in anything, like a higher power at all or anything, it doesn't help us to sit there and say, well, make the doorknob your higher power. That doesn't make any sense. Those of us that are logical, that's not very compelling. And it just sounds like we're not part of the club that everybody else is part of. And we, like, oh no, you're still part of the club, but you gotta pretend like you're part of our club. So make your higher power a doorknob. Like we're just, it's very condescending and it kind of just acts like, you're like, we are just all supposed to believe in a higher power. Like that's going to help. And as far as I could tell, it didn't help me at all. I wasn't able to quit anything until after I snapped out of my religious beliefs because I kept trying to give it up to Jesus. Jesus wasn't there. Nothing happened. People kept telling me, oh, you're trying to do it on your own too much. Why don't you just quit trying to do it on your own? That's not helpful at all. And I'm like, okay, then what am I supposed to do? Well, stop trying to do it. Okay, let Jesus do it. Okay. And then me stop trying. I will go right back. You can't, because there's nothing there. All right. There is no Jesus. All right. He's if he ever existed, he's long dead. Okay. It can't help anybody. So it did not those kinds of beliefs did not help me at all. But what did help me was logic, reason, science, and community, having a community, and the psychology, like I said, behind why we drink, why we do things. And a lot of it is just based on false beliefs, which is great. If you're a skeptic, then snapping out of false beliefs, something that we're really used to doing, right? Because we're constantly updating our positions based on new information. So a lot of what's going to happen if you do go down this route is just kind of realizing things that you sort of knew already, but it really gets it deep into your head to the point where you're living out those beliefs as they change, because a lot of us have false beliefs associated with the substance of our choice. So start on that alcohol and how. So it's the two books. It is the How to Control Alcohol the Easy Way by Alan Carr, and The Fastest Way to Control Alcohol Guaranteed by Craig Beck. Listen to it about an hour every day. Just don't drink while you're listening to it, right? You can drink afterwards though. And then they will tell you when to stop. And I promise you, you'll be like, whoa, like if you get to that point, and like I said, like if you need to start it over, just go ahead and start it over. But it's gonna come a time where it just clips. And then you're like, oh, I can just stop. And then you just stop. And then that's it. It's all, it was really easy after that. And there's also another book by Alan Carr for smoking. That was actually the main one. He used the method he did for smoking with alcohol, and it translated perfectly, because it's funny how similar a lot of addictions are. But thanks for watching. I like and subscribe, and come hang out with me as I do live streams where we go through the fundamentalist Christian YouTube rabbit hole. And whoa, is it crazy? It's a lot of fun. So definitely come hang out, comments. I respond to all the comments and stuff like that. And we just hang out. We just hang out and watch videos together. It's really fun, and make jokes and goof off, right? But I also wanted to see if I can help some folks out with some of the problems that I dealt with in my life, which were mostly alcohol related, among like other addictions as well, like nicotine too. But those two books back to back, an hour a day. Wait to drink until after you read them. That's the main thing. And that's real easy. Just set an alarm on your phone if you have a hard time deciding to do things because of ADHD. Set an alarm on your phone. Oh, this time every day when you're cleaning up around the house or something like that, or if you have time at work where you're cleaning up or something, you're closing up the shop or whatever, at the end of the night or whatever. Pop in a headphone, 1 hour a day. It'll take a couple weeks, and then you'll be free forever. All right. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Appreciate y'all. And stay logical, loving, skeptical, and